Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching from. Welcome to Favorite News. Don't forget to subscribe. Tonight, we begin with breaking and deeply troubling news out of central Nigeria, where yet another deadly attack has shaken the city of Jos and reignited concerns about a long-running cycle of violence in Plateau State. Authorities confirmed that at least 20 people have been killed following a late-night assault by unidentified gunmen in the community of Gari Yawaye, located in Jos North. Dozens more are reported injured, and many families are now displaced, seeking safety in the aftermath of the violence. This is not an isolated incident. Rather, it is the latest in a series of attacks that underscore the fragile security situation in this region, a place where tensions over land, ethnicity, and religion have simmered for years. Residents describe a terrifying scene that unfolded under the cover of darkness. According to eyewitness accounts, the attackers arrived on motorcycles, moving quickly, deliberately, and with little warning. Gunfire erupted suddenly. Families who had been asleep were jolted awake. Some fled into nearby bushes. Others barricaded themselves indoors. For many, there was simply no time to react. By the time the shooting stopped, the damage had already been done. Bodies lay in the streets. Homes were left scarred by bullets, and a community, already familiar with violence, was once again left in shock. Local leaders say the death toll could rise as more victims succumb to their injuries. Emergency responders are working under difficult conditions, and access to medical care remains limited in some affected areas. In response, authorities have imposed a 48-hour curfew across parts of Jos North. Security forces have been deployed, and officials say efforts are underway to track down those responsible. But, as is often the case in attacks like this, there are more questions than answers. Who carried out the killings, and why? So far, no group has claimed responsibility. However, analysts point to a familiar and deeply rooted pattern of conflict in Plateau State, one that involves disputes between farming communities and nomadic herders, often exacerbated by ethnic and religious divisions. To understand what's happening in Jos today, we need to look at the broader picture. Plateau State has long been considered one of Nigeria's most volatile regions. Its capital, Jos, sits at a crossroads, geographically and culturally, between the largely Muslim north and predominantly Christian south. This diversity, while rich in heritage, has also made the area a flashpoint. Clashes over land use, particularly between farmers and herders, have intensified in recent years. As climate change affects grazing routes and agricultural patterns, competition for resources has grown more severe. What begins as a dispute over land can quickly escalate into violence along ethnic or religious lines, and in many cases, retaliation fuels a dangerous cycle. One attack leads to another. Communities arm themselves, trust erodes, and peace becomes increasingly difficult to sustain. But beyond the analysis, beyond the numbers, are the human stories. Families mourning loved ones, children left without parents, survivors grappling with trauma that may last a lifetime. For residents of Gari, this is not just a headline, it is their reality. Some have described losing everything overnight, homes destroyed, livelihoods disrupted, a sense of security shattered. Community leaders are calling for urgent intervention, not just in the form of security, but also humanitarian aid and long-term solutions to prevent further bloodshed. There has been a video circulating online showing residents in the area reacting to the recent killings in Jos, Plateau State. In the footage, members of the community can be seen visibly shaken, gathering in groups as they recount the events of the night. Some residents describe how gunmen stormed their neighborhood under the cover of darkness, opening fire and forcing people to flee for safety. Others in the video express deep anger and frustration, accusing authorities of failing to protect them despite repeated attacks in the region. In several clips, crowds are seen taking to the streets, with some residents openly protesting and demanding stronger security presence, even in defiance of the curfew imposed by the government. Emotions run high throughout the footage. Some individuals are seen crying and calling out for lost relatives, while others speak with urgency about the need for immediate intervention to prevent further violence. The overall mood captured in the videos reflects a community gripped by fear, grief, and growing outrage. As many residents say, this has become a recurring tragedy in their lives. Here is a video of some of the residents' reactions. We will be back after the clip.
Then some hoodlums, unknown gunmen, of course, they came and started shooting people randomly. They started shooting people. You know, this was a planned attack because people were trying. There is no how people will defend themselves because it took some minutes before the security men came in. Before then, so many people have been killed. So the community is very heavy today. Since yesterday, and as I'm talking to you now, no presence of government.
It's a disaster, which everybody know, because they took us unaware. And the truth is, Angwarukuba is one of the key part of the whole Plateau State. It's our heartbeat. And despite the fact that people were just involved in their normal activities, everybody is just doing his normal activities. We didn't knew. Before we knew, we started beginning shootings were just everywhere. And before you know it, a lot of people are down. And aside from those people that are down, the other ones are trying to rescue the other ones. They are being shot too. So the thing was, everybody was confused. And the major thing that caused this scenario, why people are having them much, is a lot of people were thinking that it's drugs. Because normally drugs used to come here and harass people. NDLA, they used to come here and harass people. So they're shooting people while it's drugs. So some people were even coming thinking that it's drugs, they're not going to be affected. So before they knew, once they step in, they shoot them, direct shooting. And before we know it, it was terrorists. And nobody can be able to recall who is that person. We don't even know who. So before people will come to for the other ones rescues, before we knew it, they followed through this way, trying to escape. And what they did there was, as they were moving, slowly, not even running, anyone they saw coming, they shoot and machete you down. That's what they did yesterday.
These terrorists, they are using, their modus operandi is using of motorcycle. This motorcycle should be banned completely. Please, government should be, after banning it, it should be enforced. Because the problem we are having in Nigeria now, we have good policy, but implementation is key. To implement it, government should please, they should ban motorcycle and they should provide CCTV camera in every junction. Since government can provide, as in cars for all the first class chief, government, I swear, do and provide CCTV camera for the people.
Seeing the residents' reactions, Nigerian authorities have condemned the attack and pledged to bring the perpetrators to justice. Security agencies say they are increasing patrols and intelligence operations in the area. The imposed curfew is intended to stabilize the situation and prevent further violence. But critics argue that similar measures have been taken in the past, with limited long-term success. They say what's needed is a more comprehensive approach, addressing the root causes of the conflict, strengthening local governance, promoting dialogue between communities, and ensuring accountability for those who carry out such attacks. Without these steps, many fear the cycle will simply continue. The violence in Jos is part of a broader security challenge facing Nigeria. Across the country, different regions are grappling with various forms of unrest, from insurgency in the northeast to banditry and kidnappings in the northwest. For Africa's most populous nation, maintaining stability is an ongoing and complex task. And incidents like this one serve as a stark reminder of the work that remains. Tonight, as families in Jos mourn their dead and tend to the wounded, the rest of the world watches with concern. The hope, as always, is that this tragedy will not be in vain, that it will prompt action, dialogue, and ultimately change. But for now, the focus remains on those affected, on the lives lost, on the survivors, and on a community trying, once again, to pick up the pieces. We will continue to follow this developing story and bring you updates as more information becomes available. For now, we leave you with this reminder. Behind every number is a name, a face, and a story that deserves to be told. That is it for today's news. Stay tuned for more upcoming news. Bye-bye.